Yes, everything sounds good.
Thank you. So we'll start in another 2 minutes. We can see still our participants are joining. So let's wait for another 2 minutes. Good morning, everyone. So let's start. Let's start the session here. Welcome to AZ104 day 3 session. We hope the session has been audible to you. Requesting everyone to confirm audio, echo, or all these things on the technical part on the chat, so I can able to see Carl and Nabin has been confirmed. Waiting the rest of the members also to be confirmed. Thank you. Okay, great, super. Now, yesterday and day before yesterday, we were focusing more on the compute side. We understood how a VM or a Azure compute resource can be installed or deployed on in a cloud. That portion we have been clear now. Today we are going to discuss about how do we manage the VM once it's been implemented. And yesterday we have seen technically how a VM can be accessed from a internet or an external world. That portion we have been discussed. Yesterday we understood the moment when you install or deploy a VM, it's not going to be similar like your on-premises one. In a on-premises scenario, the entire connection or the connectivity we were doing internally or directly from a data center or a data room. That is the approach we have been taking. But when it is coming on in a cloud or in a Azure infrastructure side, the connectivity has been made with the help of either FQDN or public IP address, or do we need a concept of a VPN, or we have some couple of services like a pass firewall, NATing kind of additional features we are using, which will allow us to manage the VM remotely. So that is a discussion, or that is the point we have discussed yesterday. So yesterday we have seen when you deployed a VM on in a East to West location, the scenario we have taken, we have deployed a server on in a Microsoft data center with some X configuration specified by the client, and you are sitting in Nepal or Indonesia or a Philippines. We have seen how this has been accessed remotely. So the first approach we have taken is about connecting the server with the help of a public IP address. Now today we are going to discuss about a different concept called jump server or gateway server. You may be seen when we had a discussion about a networking concept, we understood there are two IP addresses been available. One is been knowing as a public IP address, and second one is been knowing as a private IP address. So right now, any IP address which has been connected to the front end or a internet, basically it's been knowing as a public IP address. Public IP address actually, it's not a free product. There is a cost is been involved. And we understood already whatever IP address which you are using internally, that it's completely free and it's basically known as private IP address. So you have a public IP address is been available, and you have a private IP address also it's been available. Now we have a few important points here. The first important point here, when you deploy a VM, we have seen all the VMs which has been deploying on in a cloud. By default, this has been getting a two IP address. One is a public IP address, and you have a private IP address also has been available. So you have a public IP address has been available, and you have a private IP address also has been available. Now, you think from a business point or from an account or a project point, where you have been deployed, let's take it's a 5,000 VM, we have been deployed on in a Azure VM. Now, all these 5,000 VM, all these VMs are getting a both the IP address, you are getting a public IP address, and you are getting a private IP address also. Now, think from a security point of view, or think from a finance point of view, what are the concerns we are going to get it here? Or think like when you deploy all these 5,000 VM with a public IP address, what are the concerns you are seeing on this kind of a structure here? If I'm configuring all these 5,000 VM with a public IP address, are you seeing any kind of a concern or any kind of a issues here? Can you just comment it on the chat? In case if I'm configuring all this VM with a any kind of all these kind of servers with a public IP address, are you seeing any kind of a concerns or any kind of a security issues here? So I'm seeing few comments on the chat. One is about the security, finance is the cost is more. Yes, exactly. So there are two important concerns you may be able to see here, because public IP address cost is being involved. So obviously all these 5,000 VM which you are configuring with a public IP address, obviously we need to pay some extra cost for your public IP address. And really we don't need all these 5,000 VM needs to be connected to an internet or external world. Second one, as the people has been commented on in the chat, like or Arif, or many people has been commented on the chat, there is a chance of security compromise also, right? Because all these 5,000 VM, you are exposing directly to the internet. So there is a chance of security breach or attack or a cyber related issues we may face it in a production infrastructure. So that's the reason normally on in a production scenarios or in a normally in a cloud scenarios, we won't prefer all the VMs or all the resources to be configured with a public IP address. So always as a security architect, or as a security cloud engineer, we prefer to have the resource is been configured with only with a private IP address. So we'll try to limit the resources which needs to be exposing to a internet, because it's a security concern. So the security concern needs to be taken care here, because if something goes wrong, your entire infrastructure is going to be impacted. So there is a risk is been involved. So the action plan or the mitigation plan, we are going to use it here. It's been like configuring the resources without a private public IP address. Let me give you a scenario here. Right now, we have seen defaultly this has been configuring with a public IP address here. Now, I'm going to configure a VM without a public IP address, and let's see how this has been connected. So, for example, I have a couple of VM has been configured. Let's take a VM1 or VM2. This has been configured only with private IP address. It's been configured only with private IP. Let's see how this has been accessed from internet or external without a private IP address here. Let me take you into the Azure portal window here. Just waiting for the OTP to receive. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Let's wait for this to complete. Let's wait. I'm just given this code and just trying to connect to Microsoft portal. So the lab right now we are trying to do here, we are going to configure few VMs only with the private IP address, and we are trying to see how this can be accessed from the internet. So let me go to this portal and make it in a doctor mode. Okay, I'm just taking all the resource group first to delete. Let's delete the existing one, because just to understand this, just let me clear this one first. So otherwise you may get confused here. So let's give me a second. Let's wait for a few minutes here. We are clearing few servers or a few resources which has been created yesterday here. Let's wait. Please hide the screen. There is a message. Which screen needs to be? I'm not seeing any pop-up. Mohammed, are we seeing any pop-up? Surag, are you seeing any pop-up?
No, I don't
This is
see
when the
any
portal is
pop-up.
being right. This is the portal only you are seeing, right?
Yes, yes.
Maybe Azmil, that may be the window, something that's been coming from your browser. You may be getting an option for dismiss that, because in my secondary monitor or even Surag also not seeing any extra pop-up while sharing this screen here. Stop sharing. What is this? Okay. You are talking about the screen. Okay, you're talking about the screen here, right? Okay. I tried to remove this one. That is the default one. So okay, I got it. That may be the one you are maybe mentioning here. Okay, I just try to move to the back. That I don't have option in case if I'm removing the sharing will be stopped. Okay, there is a hide. Okay, you're talking about. Okay, you're talking about this. It's been done now. Got your point. Thank you. Got it. Yes. So right now the team, we are clearing or decommissioning whatever resources which have been created yesterday. And the topic right now we are discussing about implementing a gateway service, or we are trying to see how a jump server can be configured in a production network. We are trying to do with a two VMs. This two VM is going to configure only with a private IP address. So the decommissioning of existing VMs or the resource group on in a productions is in progress here. So we need to wait for a few minutes. So let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes to this to complete. So the lab we are going to do, or the servers which you are going to do, it's called gateway server or gem server. So let me give you a few lecture note for that. I just pasted on the chat. This may be helpful for you. Just pasted a few lecture note related to that. So let's wait this to complete. Decommission is in progress here. So this is taking time than expected. So deletion has been completed here. Let me clear this storage as well. We have a storage also got created by default. Let me clear this one. Storage also it's been clearing. So this deployment, decommissioning of existing resource is in progress here. We are creating the storage account and network watcher, which has been created yesterday. So let's wait. Now we are going to create a two VMs here. These two VMs we are going to configure with only with a private IP address. So technically in your project, your infrastructure is going to be configured in this mode. In your organization, don't expect that all your VMs, all your resources which you are going to configure is having a public IP address and you can able to access. No, that is not possible in a real-time scenario. So we are taking the two VMs here. VM name is been VM1 and VM2. It's going to configure in a east to west locations, and both the VM has been only going to configure with a private IP address. Now I'm sitting in India or in a some other location. I want to access this computer here. Right now, there is no public IP address. So technically, the VM right now it's been configured is been not exposed to internet. That may be the right word I can able to use it here. So this VM is been not exposed to internet here. So let me go to virtual machine, create two VMs here. I'm just going to create here two VMs. I'm giving the VM name is a demo VM. Resource group name, let me give it as a training. First VM I given is a demo VM configured in a East US data center. Availability zone, it's been configured, it's been blank. It's been 2019. So server name is being given as it is given the username and password, which can be used for connecting here. On the networking session, I'm saying I don't need a public IP address here. So this is a place where you can able to select your public IP address. So right away I'm saying I don't need a public IP address here. I'm just reviewing and creating the first server here. So let's wait for that this to complete. Your VM is got created here, or is the validation has been completed. So we are creating the first demo VM without a public IP address. Let's wait for this to complete. So waiting, yes, the first VM is got created here. Let me create one more VM so that you will be able to understand how this is being formed. Demo VM 2. Configured without a public IP address key. So let's give none and create. So right now the validation is being completed. We have triggered already a create. It took some time. So right now the deployment is in progress here. So let's wait this to finish. So the deployment is being completed here. Right now you can able to see on the portal, we have a two VM is been created. Both the VM is been created with a name, demo VM and demo VM2 here. Now, if you go right side, you may be able to see like we have a public IP address has been configured as none here. So there is no public IP address has been available here. Now we are getting a question here. Right now we have this scenario here. We have a two VM has been available without a private IP address. and you want to manage this VM. How do we do that? So the one of the easiest method which you are going to see it on in your production or in a office, it's about configuring a additional servers, basically known as jump server. So you will be placing a server on in a perimeter network. So only this server will have a public IP address and private IP address. So one side you will be deploying a jump server on the perimeter network. This jump server will have a public IP address. On in the other hand, you will have a private IP address, or this jump server will be connected to the same server where or the same network where your internal network is being connected. So technically what I'm trying to say here is you will be deploying only one server with a public IP address. Rest all servers which has been placed internally or behind the firewall is having only private network. So you will have a one device is be available. Only this jump server will be exposed to the internet, and there is a lot of rules will be configured on in a firewall. So technically you are spending cost only for one public IP address because only one server only having a public IP address available in the network. I hope this point is been clear to you. So we are trying to see how a cost can be minimized. Second thing, we are thinking about how security compromise part can be avoided so that the solution we have it here it's like placing only a single VM. Right now you can able to see here you have placed a gem server here. This has been placed outside or it's behind the firewall, and all the traffic to this VM has been it's been completely monitored and it's been filtered with the help of a NSG, or it's with the help of a firewall, and ensured the traffic is been completely monitored and managed here. Now let's see how this can be used as a jump server here. So right now you can see we have a VM1 is been configured, we have a VM2 is been configured. Now we are going to see a jump server on in a perimeter network here. So I'm creating a server here. Now this server which you are going to configure here, that is having a operating system. It's basically a uh, Windows operating system. So don't think that jump server is going to be a extra service. No, it's going to be a simple VM which has been configured with a public IP address here. I'm just configuring on into the same network for your understanding. I'm just giving the name is a gateway server. I'm just selecting this is all these basic details here, like username and password, and configuring this with a public IP address here. So let's wait. And networking, I'm configuring this with a public IP address here. So let's review and create it here. Let's wait. Creation is in progress here. Let's wait for a minute. Right now, this deployment is in progress here. Let's wait this to finish. So let's wait this to complete. So right now we can able to see the VM is got deployed here. So we have a three VM has been configured now here. Two VM has been got with a public, two VM has been got with a private IP address. Right now you can able to see this VM1 or a VM2. You can able to see the VM1 and VM2 has been configured only with a private IP address here. And on in a perimeter network, what we have done, it's been like we have configured a gem server with a public IP address. So technically, what we are trying to do here is any users, if they want to access VM1 or a VM2, they are going to use the public IP address of the gem server first. Then internally they will be connected a RDP. The reason behind that why we are using this method, the reason it's been like whatever private IP address currently we have here or it's been deployed here, this got or this is cannot be used in the internet because it's a non-routable IP address because it's a private IP address. So what as a user, what I'm trying to do here, I'll be assigning or I'll be connecting to the public IP address of the gem server first through a RDP. From here, I'll be taking another RDP connection to the respective resources here. Now, I have seen a question from Andra here. Has this public IP address has been provided by Azure or is it always stable? I'll come to that point, Andra here. Answering to your question, you may be seeing like in a public IP address scenario. Normally, this has been provided by the internet service provider, right? Now, on in a cloud scenario, internet service provider is provided a pool of IP address to your cloud service provider, and the cloud service provider is providing to us. So technically what I'm trying to say here is any VM which you are configuring on in a Azure scenario, you will be assigned by a public IP address by the cloud service provider. You don't need to go and purchase a separate public IP address. The thumb rule which has been available on in a cloud is that you cannot bring your own public IP address. For example, like in case if you have a public IP address already available on your on premises, you cannot bring that IP address on into a cloud scenario here. So technically answering to your question, public IP address has been always it's been provided by the cloud service provider. Andra, I hope your doubt is got cleared. Now, one more point, Andra, you can keep in your mind. Whatever public IP address you are getting from a cloud service provider, that can be configured as a dynamic mode and static mode also. So both it's been positive. Andra, I hope your doubt got cleared. If yes, can you comment it on in the chat? Andra was asking a question about public IP address. So I hope this has been clear. Yes. Auto scaling of or load balancing on in a perimeter or a gem server that normally we used to do it on in a production scenario. So whatever Tangri has been posted on in the comment, yes, you are right. Because you think a scenario like you have a 5000 VM needs to be accessed through a one gem server. That gem server will be get overloaded, right? So obviously the people will be using a load balancing or will be using a auto scaling kind of a feature. So technically the term which you are going to use it on in a VMware Azure is not auto scaling. As you said, it's going to be the VM scale set. So that is the VMSS. That may be the right word or the concept we use it on in a cloud scenario here. So right now, what we are trying to say here is you have a scenario like where you want to limit your public IP address or where you want to limit your VMs, then you can able to use this model here. So with the help of that, you can able to create. Vincent, your doubt is been um, it's the right question. Gem server and Bastion server is not same. Technically, it's been different. I'll tell you how this has been different. Now, Vincent, you may be seeing like how this gem server you have been configured now. You created a VM. we are responsible for managing an operating system, and we are managing a public IP address and private IP address, right? Vincent, you may be seeing this one. When you deploy a gateway server or a jump server, we are responsible for deploying a VM here. But when it is coming on in a bastion service, concept is going to be the same here. But the difference is here, it's the cloud service provider has been responsible for managing that. I'll show you in the next module, that in the next session or the next topic, which we are going to discuss about bastion service here, how this has been deployed. So technically answering to your question, bastion server and jump server, technically it's been providing the same feature, but the way this has been implemented, the way it's been deployed, it's been different. So we have a difference here. So we have a difference we have here. So we have a, we can able to see the different zone in the. So let's give me a second. Give me a second. So let's see here how this has been connected. Now you can able to see we have a jump server is here. So what we are trying to do here is, you may be notice on in a cloud portal, we have a 3 VM has been configured. So I'm sitting in India and I'm going to access my VM here. So I have a 2 VM here. The name we have given it demo VM, and we have a demo VM 2 here. You may be not, you can able to see here. We have a 2 here, demo VM here, and demo VM 2 here. So in case if I want to connect to demo VM or a demo VM 2, first I will go and connect to gateway server, which is been exposed to internet. So we have a gateway server here. So previously you may be seen, we were connecting directly to the server with the public IP address of that respective VM. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So what we are trying to say here, you will be connecting to, first you will take a RDP here. You'll take a RDP here. From here, you will take a another RDP connection. So totally you'll have a 2 RDP connection will be enabled here. So let's see here. Just give me a second. Now, let's connect it here. You may be able to see the first you take a public IP address of your gateway server. So we'll be connecting to the public IP address of this gateway server first. I'll take a gateway server here. Let's give connect. Let me connect RDP server here. Give me a second. Let me. Um, Gem server can be VM or it can be physical also. We were getting a question from Mainpur Rahman here. Is it possible or is it a VM or a physical VM? Minor, it's been depends upon the complexity of your network. You have a mostly it be a VM or it can be physical. So that depends upon the organization. So that's been the so that depends upon you can able to see it can be VM or it can be physical. So technically it's going to be a minor, it's going to be a server which has been configured with an operating system which got a public IP address. Thus, I will be answering to your question in a practical way. Is it possible to connect your two VM on the same time? I'll show you now. Right now, let me connect to the server here. I've been connected to the gateway server here. So you may be able to see this is we have a server has been here. It's been connected. Let me enter my username and password. And let me share my screen while entering my personal credential. Give me a second. You may be able to see the connection is after giving a username and password. We have been connected to the gateway server here. Uh, Normally we'll have only two RDP connection only by default is been available console. We may have to go for additional terminal server license if you need one. So let me give a yes. Right now you may be able to see we have connected to the external or the gateway server here. You may be able to see the server is being connected here. So let's wait. Now in case if you want to connect it to again here, you can able to see like I'm just taking another set of servers here. Now right now we have taken a remote desktop to a gateway server, right? Technically we have been landed on the gateway server right now here. So you see, so we have taken a RDP connection to this gateway server here. Now if anyone needs to connect to demo VM or a demo VM2, from here you will type private IP address of that respective VM here. So I'll be taken in case if I need to connect to demo VM1, I'll type private IP address of demo VM here. It's been going to be 10.0.0.4. I'll give private IP address. So I'll be connected to gateway server first. From there, I given the username or password or the IP address of the internal IP address here. I just given here. I've been connected here. See, it's been connected here. So you can able to see we have taken a RDP again. So this is the mode normally we are using here. So we have a server has been connected here. Now, in case if you want to connect to demo VM2, this RDP is already live here. Okay. Now, in case if I need to take another RDP, the same method, I need to go and give the IP address of another server here. So I'll be need to give the username and password for that. So, this is the way we've been using a jump server in a real-time scenario here. So you can able to see I've taken a remote desktop of the second name also. See, I have it. So like this way, you right now you can able to see there is a two remote desktop here. So technically only one server will be connected here. Now RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol, Andrew, or few organization you may be able to see RDC as well. What if there is a data transfer from a on-premises server to the cloud server? Andra, if you want to do a data transfer, uh, you need to have a hybrid connectivity to be enabled in your organization. For example, like Andra answering to your question, for example, like you have a data center has been available on in your on-premises. This is your data center. You have a database server or application server, and this is your cloud. Technically, there will not be any direct connection between these two as long as you have not made any kind of hybrid connectivity. In case if you want to make any kind of a connectivity, you need to enable a feature called VPN. Basically, in case if you want to do any kind of a data transfer, or in case if you want to make any kind of a connectivity between on-prem to cloud, you need to make a VPN here. So technically, you will be having a three type of VPN is been enabled: P2S or S2S or Express Route. P2S has been only for a user type, so this won't be preferring for your on-premises scenario. In your on-premises scenario to cloud, normally we'll be using something called a site-to-site or express route. Once this feature has been enabled, basically known as hybrid connectivity, once this has been enabled, your data transferring can be done between your on-premises and cloud scenario. Andra, we have another scenario. For example, like instead of a DB server or application server, I'm just giving another scenario like you have a domain controller is being configured. So for example, take this is your domain controller. Now domain controller, if you want to connect to this cloud scenario, then we will be using another feature called AD Connect. So with the help of AD Connect, data transfer, basically known as synchronization or replication of your Active Directory can be done on in a identity management. So Andra, answering to your question in a single word, for making any kind of a data transfer between on-premises to cloud, you need to have a hybrid connectivity. So that's an important point you can able to see here. Any other questions? Let me go through the chat messages. I can see there are a few comments is being given here. Thank you for remote desktop. RDP stands for remote desktop protocol. Or few books you can able to see this has been mentioned as RDC also. Few people has been used like it's so RDC also. Lloyd, you are right. You need to purchase a CAL license because by default you may also may be knowing by default only two console at a time only it's been allowed. So you need to have a CAL license or terminus license needs to be enabled. Otherwise you won't be able to connect it here. So only two is been possible. Now for a users for a VPN, for a users on the VPN cloud, are there no user restriction? Android's been completely made with the help of a concept called RBAC. Definitely, you'll have a user restriction. You will have a governance. Basically, the rather than using a word called a restriction, we can use a right terminology called governance. Definitely, you will have a governance in place. Whether you use it in a on-premises scenario or whether you use it in a cloud scenario, definitely you'll have a governance will be in place. Yes, it's been applicable for Linux as well. But Sanai, in a Linux scenario, instead of a RDP protocol, we will be using a SSH or a PuTTY kind of model for connecting. That is the only difference we have. So the VPN or the connectivity need to be made in another kind of scenario as well. So RBAC is something called a role-based access control boundary. It's basically if you take a cloud infrastructure, you may be seeing like you have 100 or 200 services has been available, 8,000 application has been available. So we need to have, or we need to put some kind of a restrictions on in the server, right? I want to ensure that this VM is only accessed by Wandry, or this is only accessed by Co, or this is only accessed by Andra, or it's been only accessed by Surag. I want to put some kind of a restriction, or I want to put some kind of a restriction saying that this VM is been only restarted by Robin, or this is been only can be shut down by Co, or this VM can be only deleted by Wandry. So in case if I need to put this kind of a conditions, normally we'll be using a governance model here. So RBAC stands for role-based access control. Based on your job role, based on your work nature, I can able to put some kind of a permissions inside in a cloud infrastructure. That basically known as RBAC. You may be seeing like in a on-premises scenario, with the help of an Active Directory group, we used to configure as a remote desktop users or a backup administrator or print servers or this kind of configuration may be using, right? Similar kind of a role is been doing here also, that basically known as RBAC. So this is the concept is been using. Gem server is not a Bastion server. After a break, I'll show you how Bastion server is been configured here. I hope all are clear about Gem server or a gateway server. Any question related to gateway server or a is there any question related to gateway server or a gem server here? I'll show you how Bastion has been working. Don't worry, I'll show you how Bastion service has been working. Any question related to gem server or a gateway server? If you're good, can you comment it on in a chat? It's a good or it's been clear. So just to ensure that we both are on the same page and the concept is been clear to you. So that will give a positive feedback to us. Yes, because I just want to ensure that we both are spending time today. End of the day, we want the session or the topic to be clear to everyone. It needs to be fruitful. So because we both are spending your work day and trying to understand, sit together. So just want to understand this one. So Vincent Bastion service is going to be more secure here. That depends upon Farhad, your configuration of your server. As someone has been mentioned on in a previously, like all depends upon how your auto scaling or load balancing is being done on in the perimeter level. You think a scenario like you have a 5,000 servers is been available and all the 5,000 users been connected to a single server, definitely will have a exhausted. Your server will be get exhausted. Depends upon the number of the connection is been hitting on in the server. So obviously the connection is been depends upon what is the kind of the configuration you are using, what is the kind of the network traffic you are using, and depends upon what is the kind of the auto scaling or a load balancing which you are going to place it on in a perimeter level or in a server. Next, we are going to discuss about a topic called Microsoft Azure Bastion Service. Before that, we'll take a 3 to 4 minutes of a refreshment break because we are already almost an hour. I know you may be overloaded with whatever information has been provided so far. So let's go for a small walk or let's take a small refreshment break. Let's take it a 4 minutes or 5 minutes of refreshment break and come back. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you are back. Now I can able to see how to secure a Azure VM from a cyber attack. Oliver is asking one questions on the chat. Oliver, you can able to see the concept which you are going to use it on in a cloud. You can able to see it's called DID. So that's basically known as defense in depth. That is the concept normally we are using. So defense in depth, I hope you can able to see the screen here. Oliver, answering to your question, how the security is been made on in a cloud is with the help of a concept called defense in depth. You can just search in the internet. You may be able to see your security has been enabled on in a different layer. You may be heard about a data center stack layers on in a internet or in a network, right? You have a data security, you have application security, you have endpoint security, you have a this kind of options are available. So each layer you will be implementing different features. I'm just giving an example like subnet level. Subnet level, you'll be implementing NSG. On in a VNet level, you'll be enabling DDoS or a firewall or LB kind of a features or a NATing kind of a feature. So technically, you'll be using a different mechanism, service, or a feature that will ensure that your cloud infrastructure is been protected. It's not that a single service. This has been taking a layered approach that will ensure that your cloud infrastructure is been protected. If I want to configure a jump server on premises, how to connect to VMs without a public IP address? Vincent, you need a VPN. VPN with the help of a VPN, you'll be able to connect. In case if you don't have any jump server on in a this one and you want to connect on premises and cloud with the help of this one, then you may need a VPN kind of a concept. Otherwise, you won't be able to connect it. One of the common question right now I'm able to see on in a chat, are we providing any kind of a certificate? There's one common question I can able to see on in the chat. Yes, so multiple times you have been confirmed. You will be getting a certificate. You will be getting a link for registering today. So please stay tuned, or you will be getting a link for registering your name and the details. You will be getting this one. And the people who has been not attended this session on the last 2 days, end of the training will be posting the YouTube link and the Discord link. You can use that link for um, attending all the previous sessions. We'll be providing a WhatsApp group link as well, where you can able to see all kind of a training notifications. It's not that only Azure 104 we are delivering. In the past, we had done security trainings, identity management training. We have a network training also has been going on parallelly. So all the training notification or the live free webinar details is being posted on the WhatsApp group. You can able to see the community link on the chat right away. Discord channel or this you can able to configure here. You can able to see here. How can I configure VPN without a public IP address? Possible, Vincent, that's going to be a little complex topic. On this session, I'll not be able to discuss that. Possible in a networking session, I'll be able to handle that. Keshava, answering to your question, when you're using a Azure VDA, VDA is something like in the backend, you are using a dedicated host pool. In a host pool, for example, like when you're using an internal VM, internal VM has been working something like a one-to-one mapping kind of thing. Keshav, I'm answering your question. The difference between a VDI and VM is when you configure a VM, technically you are assigning a one-to-one mode here. But when you're using a VDI, you will be taking a host pool. Inside that, you may be adding one or two server. Now, if any user has been connecting, they will be connecting to an instance which has been configured here. You won't be getting any dedicated VM here. That is our difference, which you can able to see it on in a VDA or internal server here. So there's a point you can able to see it here. Just give me a second. Let me give you some note related to that. Just give me a second. I'm just trying to get some handy note. So okay. Now let's see how a Bastion service can be implemented here. Now, right now you may be notice here we have a VM is been configured here. You have a jump server is been configured on in a perimeter network, or this jump server is been connected to the external world, and jump server is been connected to the internal network. Now, right now we are trying to see the difference between a Bastion service and a jump server here. When you deploy a jump server here, you may be noticed like responsibility of the entire VM. If you take a jump server, responsibility of entire VM, this is basically a ISAS resource. Responsibility of this VM has been completely a responsibility of a user or IT team here. Now, one of my client is saying, I don't want to take a responsibility of this ISAS servers here. So they are saying like this needs to be managed by a cloud service provider. I don't want to take a responsibility of operating system. I don't want to take a responsibility of updating or patching a server. So this is the information I'm getting from a client. Now, how do we manage this? So we can bring a service called a Bastion service. You can able to see there is a, we can able to bring a service called Bastion service. With the help of a Bastion service, you can able to go for a configuration change here. You can able to see like you have a Bastion service has been available here. So with the help of that, you can able to configure a jump server here. So let me show you how a Bastion service has been enabled. When you implement a Bastion service, responsibility of a OS is been completely taken care by the cloud service provider. Let me show you here. Right now, I'm just closing all this window here. I'm just going back to my portal here. I'm just going to this cloud portal here. Let me delete this gateway server. Let me delete this gateway server here. Now let's see how do we access this VM here. Since the gateway server has been deleted, we don't have any jump server has been available in the network. Let's see how this has been managed. Let's wait for a few minutes. Right now we have been deleted this gateway server here. So right now you can able to see we have a two VM is been available in the east to west location. It's been configured without a public IP address. So I'm just giving a another scenario here. We have a multiple region or a complex infrastructure scenario we are considering here. In the east to west location, you have a VM1 or you have a VM2 is been available. Now in a North Europe location, I have another VM which has been configured with a VM3. So I have a 3 VM or a 2 region is been available here. Let me put or let me configure one more VM here. I'm just creating a demo VM. It's been configured in a North Europe. Demo VM3. Let's take it demo VM3. Let's configure in a North Europe location. In a different location, we have been configuring. So we have a 3 VM. It's going to be created here. Let's wait. Validation having got some mistake. Let me create once again. Validation completed. Let's create a VM here. Deployment is in progress. Deployment is in progress here. So deployment has been completed here. Now you may be able to see here. We have a 3 VM. It's been configured here on in a 2 different regions here. You can able to see. You can able to see. You have a 2. You can able to see. You can able to see how a 3 VM has been configured in a 2 locations here. Now you may be seeing this. Let me remove this public IP address first. Demo VM3 by mistake. I've been given public IP address. Let me remove that. Let me go to the portal. Disassociate. Let me remove this public IP address first, then I'll explain. Right now you can able to see you have a 3 VM here. Now, right now I don't have any option available here to connect to this VM. The reason it's been like the servers currently it's been configured only with a private IP address. So the moment if I'm trying to connect it with the help of a private IP address, I'll be getting an error message saying that you don't have any public IP address or the IP address is not going to route it here. So you may be able to see here, you have a public IP address is not available here. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to enable a service called Bastion service. The moment when you try to connect it here, you may be seeing some option has been available here, something called as Bastion service here. So this Bastion service can be enabled in a 2 level. One, you can able to go inside a VM. From here, you can able to enable it here, or you can go to the search bar. From here, you can able to enable the Bastion service. Here manually, you can able to go and create a Bastion service here. Now, the important point you need to remember here, the moment when you enable a Bastion service, this has been enabled in a VNet level. Basically, this has been configured in a VNet level. This has been configured. Let me show you here. Right now, we have a 3 VMs here. One is been configured in ES2S. Second one is been configured in ES2S location. Third one is been configured on in a North Europe location here. Let me enable a Bastion service and see how this has been working. I'm just going inside a connect. I'm just enabling option called Bastion service. Now we are getting a notification or a message saying that, hey Robin, there is no Bastion service has been enabled. So you need to enable it here. The moment if I'm selecting an option called use Bastion service, this allowing us to create an automatic enablement here. See, if I'm selecting an automatic enablement here, see, I have option for selecting default one. So the moment if I'm creating here, you may be able to see on the notification area, this is going and creating a separate subnet and it's been trying to attach with a regions here. So Bastion service has been always going to work in a region specific mode. You can able to see this has been attaching a new subnet here. The service is been enabled here. So right now you can able to see whatever service if you are enabling from a VM level. Technically, this has been creating on in the backend on in a VNet level. Right now you can able to see this has been applying here. Let's wait. Let's wait for this to complete. I just enabled a Bastion service here. I can see there are a lot of questions is came on the chat. I'll pick all that questions end of the session. Don't worry that. So let's wait for a few minutes. Let's finish the topic first, then we'll go for the Q&A session. So hold all your questions. Whatever question has been pasted on the chat, definitely we'll answer it that. Right now you can able to see we have been enabled the Bastion service here in a automatic mode here. So we'll see what is the difference has been happening on in the server here. Let's wait. Wait for this to complete. Right now, this installation is in progress here. So let's wait this to complete. Let's wait for this to complete here. It's taking a time. Normally, the batching service will take 3 to 4 minutes. That is a normal time, because in the backend, you may be able to see few actions are happening, creating a subnet, adding into a VNet. There is some action has been happening on in the backend. I'll show you that once it's been completed. Let's wait. So right now, it's deployment is in progress here. So let's wait. Creation of batching service in progress here. Batching is in progress here. So let's wait. So right now, you may be able to see here. We have a Bastion service is got created here. If you go to the search bar, and if you're seeing Bastion service, you may be able to see your Bastion service. It's got created here. You may be able to see Bastion service has been enabled in a East US location here. So what it is meaning here is Bastion service is going to work as kind of a jump server or a gateway server for your East US location. That is a meaning here. So this is been enabled in a east to west location, you may be having a virtual network has been available. See, there is a virtual network has been created in the east to west location, something called as demo bnet. So technically, this is created a isolated subnet with a mask of 26 or a 27, and it's been created inside in a east to west location here. You may be able to see here. You have a subnet has been created here. You have a subnet has been created. You have a default and Azure subnet. You can able to see there is a separate subnet has been created for this VM. I hope you can able to see there is a dedicated subnet has been created for Azure Bastion. You need to remember and you need to keep in your mind whenever you're deploying any Azure Bastion service, the subnet that is being needed for your Azure Bastion has to be created only with this name, whatever name you are seeing here, because your Azure or Microsoft algorithm will work only with this name. So I'm pasting this name on the chat. So always we need to give, you can able to connect on into the network here. So that is an important point you need to remember here. So the moment when you create a Microsoft Azure or Azure Bastion service, you need to ensure that the subnet for that it's been connected or it's been configured with this helper here. Now, we were getting a question on the chat. How many users can be connected to Azure Bastion here? Basically, it's been available. It's been can be configured with a up to 5,000 concurrent connection is been supported here. When you go for Azure Bastion, there are two mode you can able to see here. One is been known as standard Azure Bastion SKU. Second one is been basically known as a premium mode also. So that depends upon what is the mode you are selecting on in Azure Bastion. If it is a premium mode, we can able to connect up to 5,000 plus service. 5,000 concurrent connection is been supported on in a Azure Bastion. If it is you have been selected, it's a basic mode. For example, like when you manually create here, you may be able to see there are two mode you can able to see here. See, the moment when you select it here, you may be able to see this tires or SKUs, right? Or you can able to see there is an option here, basic, or you can able to see. See, this is the premium, or you can able to see there are two tires. So depends upon this basic model. If in case if you are selecting a basic model, that will support 100 concurrent connection. When you're going for a premium mode or the standard mode, that will support around 5,000 connections, concurrent connections been supported. Now, I'm getting another question on the chat. Is it a free service or is there any charge it's been available for Azure Bastion service? So answer for your question, yes, there is a charge is been involved because backend host, because if you see here, when you deploy a Bastion service, let me show you how this is being connected. See, previously you were using a jump server, right? Right now in a east to west location, right now you can able to see there is a demo VM which has been configured on in a east to west location. In case if I need to connect it here, I can go to the connect button here. If I'm selecting a Bastion service, you may be able to see here. 1 second. I need to just provide the username and password. What is the username and password I will provide here? So this is the username and password for that respective VM. I'm saying this is my password and connected. Previously, I was connecting to a jump server using an RDP protocol and connecting, right? Right now, you may be able to see the moment if I'm connecting here, there is a pop-up is being enabled here. You may be able to see instead of a RDP protocol, the connection is been enabled with the help of a HTTP protocol. See, you can able to see previously we were connecting with the help of a RDP protocol. Right now, you may be able to see the connection is been made with the help of a HTTP or HTTPS protocol here. See, it's in a browser base. You may be able to see in your office, you may be using a VDI concept, right? You may be in an office, you may be connecting to a gateway server or a jump server with the help of a VDI, right? Similar kind of a concept here also. You will be connected with the help of a browser. Right now, you may be able to see we have been connected to demo VM here. In case if you want to connect to demo VM2 here, I can just follow the same step here. If you go to the virtual machine, you have a demo VM2 is been available. It's been configured on in a East US location. See, it's been configured on a East US location. In case if I need to connect it on the same server or in a different server which has been available on that country or a region, use the same method. Just give a use server here. Just connect it to here. Connect it here. Now you may be able to see in another browser the particular VM is been able to access here. See, it's been connected to this server here. Right now you may be able to see this is a server has been connected here. You can able to see this has been connected here. Let's wait. Now, right now you may be notice a pattern here. Demo VM1 and demo VM2, where this has been configured. Can you comment it on the chat? You may be able to see this has been configured in a East US location, right? Now, the moment if I'm trying to connect to demo VM3, let's connect to this server here. Let's use a Bastion service and connect it. Right now, you may be able to see here. The moment if I'm trying to connect a demo VM3, I was not getting an option for connecting here. You know what is the reason behind that? The Bastion service currently it's been configured. It's been configured in the East US location. The demo VM3 currently it's been available. It's been configured in a North Europe location. For example, like if you go to this Bastion service, the Bastion service has been available here. It's connected in a East US location. So the important point we need to remember here, when you deploy a Bastion service, it's going to be a regional specific service. I hope this point has been clear to you. When you configure a Azure Bastion service, it's going to be a regional specific service here. In case if you want to go for a connecting to other regions, we may have to enable a VNet peering on in a backend. By default, you won't be able to connect it as long as you are not enabled a concept called VNet peering on in a backend. So what you need to understand here, in case if you've been enabled a Bastion service, by default, that will allow only to the servers which has been configured here. See, in case if I'm configuring East2S, you have a network has been available, right? They're basically known as VNet. So technically your Bastion service has been enabled in a VNet level. In case if I'm trying to connect to this VM3, I won't be able to use this one. The reason is like, this is first reason, this has been configured in a different data center. Second one, it's been connected into a separate VNet here. In case if I want to use the same Bastion service here, this need a trusting between each other with the help of a concept called VNet peering. On the backend, you need to have a concept of VNet peering or VNet concept is been needed. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Right now, you may be able to see how to connect a remotely through a Bastion service. Look like you missed that connection. I'll show you once again how this has been connected. Once your Bastion service has been enabled, any mission if you want to use a Bastion service, you can go to the respective VM. For example, like right now on the screen, you may be able to see we have a 3 VM has been configured here. Right now, it's been pulling that information. Muhammad Azman, you can able to you can look into this demo here. in case if you want to use a Bastion service. Right now, the Bastion is been enabled in the east to west location. So we can just go to the respective VM here. On the connect button, you are having an option for connecting or it's a Bastion service here. You can just go to a connect button here. There you'll be able to see three options. One is a RDP, and second one it's been a Bastion service here. So you can able to go to a Bastion service. The moment Bastion service is been enabled, you will get an option like use a Bastion service. You have option for giving a username and password for the respective VM here. I just given the username and password. Let's give connect button. So this is the way remotely it's been connected. The moment if I'm giving connect, a new browser or HTTPS based connection will be enabled here. You can be able to use this one. So with the help of this, you will be able to connect it here. Let's wait for that. Let's wait for this. I hope it's been clear to you. Okay, now let me go through all the questions on the chat. Before that, let me give you a few lecture note first. Then I'll answer all the questions which has been posted on the chat first. So let me give you a few lecture note for on the chat here. Azure Bastion service, how it's been working. Let me give you a few details on that. So I'm just pasting the lecture note for that. So you can copy from that on the chat window. I'll answer all the questions now. Okay. So just give me a second. Let me paste this lecture note first, then I'll pick all your answers or the questions. Let me paste on all the question. Okay. So this lecture note is for the Azure Bastion is been given on the chat here. Now let me go through all your questions which has been posted on the chat. I'll give that. Just give me a second. Let me pick all the questions one by one and give me a second. Give me a second. Just making some details for you. Okay, now let me go through all your Q&A questions which has been posted on the chat. Thanks for this opportunity. Okay, thank you. So happy to connect that till now. Now, can you share the link for the certificate? Yaku will be sharing the how to download the certificate or how to get it. So we'll be getting on in your email. You'll be getting the certificate on the email. Now, other questions like how to show how to do a monitoring. Are you for monitoring on in Azure? It's been done in a different levels. It's not that on in a one level. No, you have a different service. It's been available or tools are available on in a cloud. One of the commonly used tool for in a cloud scenario is called Azure Monitoring Tool. You may be able to see the first tool or it may be available on in a cloud. It's about a notification area. You may be seeing like whenever you make any kind of a changes inside in a cloud, the first action or you may be notice like on the right side top, there is a bell icon. You can able to see it here, right? You may be able to see there is a bell icon is been showing here. So that is one of the monitoring notification link you can able to see here. Technically, whatever changes or a configurations you are making inside your cloud, it's been created as a log. You may be familiar that when you start using a Windows servers or a Windows based machines, you have a event viewer is been available, right? Similar way here also, you have a log file is been available, which has been configured all these logs and it's been captured inside a place or inside a monitoring tool called Azure Monitoring Service here. You can able to see there is a dedicated service has been available inside a cloud infrastructure, basically known as monitoring tool here. When you open this monitoring service, you may be able to see there are many tools are available here where you can able to see application inside or a VM inside or a metrics. This kind of lot of information you can able to see here. One of the tool you can able to see something called as metrics here. So metrics you can able to use in case if you want to collect or if you want to analyze any metrics value, something like you want to find out CPU usage, or you want to find out the memory utilization, or you want to find out about a network traffic, or any specific Azure resource details if you want to pull out, then you can able to go for Azure metric service. In case if you're looking for a individual VM based monitoring or a troubleshooting, you can go to the properties of the respective VM. On the overview tab, bottom you may be able to see some option called as monitoring tab, where you can able to see is there any related alerts or notifications, or is there any kind of warnings or any kind of issues if you are facing on in your respective VM. You may be able to see in the VM property itself. Right now I'm giving it two scenarios. One, how do we download or how do we analyze or how do we monitor the bulk level of monitoring. Second one I'm discussing about how do we do it on in a individual VM level. You may be able to see. You can able to see. You have a option is been available to download this one. You can able to go to the performance or a utilization. You have an option to get these details. You have an option of performance or it's been you can able to see. You have a option is been available here, like you have a VM availability or an average option you can able to see it here. So you have an option for understanding metrics value for your CPU. This will allow us to do some kind of a metrics analysis. You don't need to enter into a VM and you don't need to log into the system and identify the resource utilization or historic value here. In case if you're getting some kind of a concerns from a user saying that there is some kind of issues it's been available and I want to find out is there any kind of issues been coming from a server, then you can able to go to the server and you can able to find out from here. So you have a demo VM or example you can able to see here. From here you can able to see it's like when we can able to complete or when you can able to handle it here. So you can just go to your properties, and from here you can able to see a monitoring tool. Now, or you can able to go to the monitoring tab. From here you can able to do all bulk level of activity monitoring for the entire resources here. You have a lot of tools been available. For example, like if in case if you have been uh, implementing some kind of a web server, you can able to go to the application inside. From here you can able to do all kind of management. You can able to go to a monitoring, and you can have any kind of a monitoring tool. You can able to use it here. So from here you can able to understand, is there any kind of application inside, or is there any kind of a website is been performing better. All this information you can able to get it from this monitoring tool. Or there are some situation organization is thinking like, I want to capture all my on-premises log also on into a centralized place for a better root cause analysis or a problem analysis. In case if I need to do some kind of a root cause analysis for all my on-premises and cloud, then I can able to look for the below options here, something called as log analytics piece. You have an option is been available, basically known as log analytics service here. You may be able to see something called as log analytic workspace. This can be used as a monitoring centralized monitoring tool. Once this tool is being enabled, this will allow us to configuring all kind of a movement, like all kind of a tool or a management here. Basically, like this will allow us to create, or it's been allow us to keep all the kind of a configurations here. For example, like in case if you want to move any kind of a tools, it's like you want to push anything from your on-premises or a cloud, this will be created a workspace also. So you can able to use a log workspace also as a kind of a monitoring tool, which will allow us to configure or any capture all kind of events which has been happening on your on-premises servers. One important point you need to remember, in case if you want to use any kind of a on-premises movement, you need to install an agent here. Once the workspace has been configured, this will be enabled a agent here. This agent will allow us to agent will allow us to push all the events or a log which has been creating on in the on-premises here. So you can able to use log analytics workspace also. Now at any point of time, in case if you want to do any kind of a networking monitor, you may be notice at the time of a creation of a resource, there is a tool has been created, something called as a network watcher. You may be able to see there is a region specific tool has been created, something called as a network watcher. So you want, in case if you want to do any kind of a network monitoring or a troubleshooting, you can use this tool also. You can go to network watcher. Inside that you can able to see the topologies. You have an option for finding out how a connection has been made, or in case if you want to track your packet capture or any kind of NSG tracking, or in case if you want to go for any kind of a security or a VPN troubleshooting, if you want to do, you can use all these tools. This is a very important point you need to remember here. So you have an option for capturing a network watcher also. So these are the few monitoring tool has been available here. How it has been different from network watcher has been transcript basically using only for a network purpose. Monitoring has been used before all the services has been available on in the cloud. Sunny is asking another question. Can I access and explore Azure portal without any fees? Sunny, as we discussed on the day one, the couple of options which has been available on in a cloud. One, it's been like, Sunny, you want to go and create a free account. Once you created a free account, that will give you $200 free credit points. With the help of that, you can able to manage, or you can able to practice all your labs without any fees. In case if you're from a student's background, Microsoft has been having a program basically for a students. You need to have a email ID of your college or a schools. With the help of that, you can able to register. That also will allow you to create a free account. Or the third option, we may have to purchase a pass voucher which is having some fees is been available. Other than that, we don't have any other option, or is not for Windows or it's Microsoft alone. If you take any other competitive vendor also, whether it's a AWS or a Google or Alibaba, all these cloud service provider have the same features. We may have to go for a free account here. Now, let me go through all the pending questions which has been posted here. Can I share for the link? Definitely we will do that. Is there any cost is for VNet peering or using a Bastion service? Yes. Paul, for configuring a VNet peering, there is no cost is been available. Cost is been only coming for the data transfer. For a VNet peering, there are two ways normally we used to do it. One is been knowing as a when you take a VNet peering, normally two ways we used to do. One is called as a global VNet peering. Second one is been knowing as a regional VNet peering. So you have a global VNet peering and regional VNet peering is been available. Now, global VNet peering is cases something like you have a two VNet on a two different regions. So basically, you will have a data transfer has been available between these two. So definitely you'll have a VNet peering option has been available. This has been allowing, and this will allow us to communicate or do a kind of a data transfer on in a cloud. So definitely on in a data transfer perspective, you'll have some cost is involved. For enabling a service, there is no cost is been involved. Bastion service, as we discussed, yes, depends upon the mode or the model or topic you are be using or the SKU you are using, there is a cost has been involved. Let me go through the other questions. It's been Lloyd is asking what is the backend it's been using. Hypervisor. It's been the moment when you created this one, it's been basically a pass mode that will create it on the backend here. That's been completely managed and handled by the Microsoft itself. Vincent is asking either another question. Different region Bastion is automatically creating a VNet peering? No. Vincent, VNet peering has been not created automatically. That has to be created by the admin. So there is no option of automatic creation here. Now I can see there is one more question from Mr. Paul. Paul is asking like, can you show me a demo? Where do we select this one? Paul, you want to, in case if you want to create any VNet peering, it's been very simple. You can go to a virtual network. On a virtual network, you may be able to see all the network currently it's been configured on in your server. You can able to see these are the VNet is currently it's been configured here. You can able to see on the VNet properties. The moment when you select a option, you have an option of blade, different blade you may be able to see on in a cloud here. So you can able to see this. You can able to see there is an option is here. So you have an option code peering here. It's just in the blade under the settings, you have option of peering here. So here you need to click add, and you need to add the remote network where do you want to do a peering. So this is the option normally we are using here. Now, Paul is asked another question. Is Azure having a lift and shift method is been available? Yes, Paul. Microsoft has been providing a lot of migration of tools and applications that will allow all the workload from an existing model can be moved to a lift and shift or rehosting here, like a database or applications or app service or a SQL database. All it's been having an option of lift and shift here. And there are many tools also it's been available here. You may be heard about Azure Migrate tool, or you may be heard about something called as Azure Site Recovery tool, or database migration service, or data box. These are the few tools. Normally, we used to use it on in a cloud scenario, which will help us for planning your migration. That will help us for facilitating the migration process, and this will help us for a smooth transition. So answering to your question, lift and shift has been supported on in a Azure scenario, and we have a lot of bundle of tools or services are allowed here that will allow us to adopting to a cloud native architecture. Basically, we used to call it as a microservice, or it's kind of a serverless computing. So we have option of moving on in a lift and shift model here. So we have a option of lift and shift model has been available on in a cloud scenario here. Now I can see one more question here. Can you explain more about SQL database? SQL database is a more, it's in a managed relationship database. It's been supported on in a cloud, which has been providing a option of a scalability or high availability options are available here. So basically, it's been providing a security on compatibility or intelligent or integration kind of a service. So the complete database solution is been available on in a cloud here. You can go to all services here on in the category. The moment when you select a databases, you may be able to see there are different database service or features are supported by Microsoft, which include a managed instance, which include MySQL, which include other database elements or services also. So answering to your question, Azure has been supporting SQL database. From my understanding, from my experience, it's offering a reliable, scalable, and it's been a completely fully managed solution for our all kind of a hosting purpose, which has been providing flexibility, high availability, and you have a option or a flexibility to integrate with other service as well. So that's the way the Azure has been using. Now, let me go to the other questions here. Now I can see when you configure a Linux, it's been like, uh, yes, in case if you want to use for a Linux based one, there are many popular gateway service you may be, it's been available on in a network or in a market load. You may be heard about a OpenVM PVPN, right? There is a tool called OpenVM or WiredGuard, or you can able to see Strong S1. There are many open source tools are available that can be used on in a Linux point here. I just use the Windows one that will be easy for us to understand. That the reason I've been used a Windows based gateway servers. Lloyd, in case if you want to go for a Linux based one, you can try. As I said, it's like OpenVPN or a Strong S1, or we have something called as a soft either VPN, or you can able to use for a WireGuard. So there are many Linux based tools or a Linux based gateway servers has been available in the market, and some of the clients or account or projects also you can able to see here. Any other questions from anyone? Did I missed any questions? Requesting you to post it on the chat. I feel I have been answered all the questions on the chat. Francis, I think your question has been missed. After adding a peer can be configured and managed later on. Yes, at any point of time. In case if you want to make any kind of a reconfiguration on the peering, yes, we have a option has been available here. Any question has been pending from anyone? Any other questions from anyone? certificate part, it's been confirmed. So certificate for the session has been details. It's been given by Surag. Yeah, we'll try to upload it on the portal. Is there any course where Microsoft where we can learn and shift and model? I need to just handy. It's been not available handy with me. I'll try to get it poll. On a one VM, can we connect with a RDP and a Bastion on a multiple? Yes. Christopher, if there is a CAL license has been available, then we have option has been available. So which having a option has been available, which to connect it easily. It's been possible in a cloud. You need to have a CAL licenses when available needed, Christopher. Otherwise, it's been not possible because you may be already knowing by default it's been like the number of the remote desktop connection has been connected. So maximum you have it, two has been possible. So in case if you the both RDP or a Bastion, if you want to connect it, then you need to have a this one. We have another question. Is it DR has been managed automatically? Yes. DR service disaster recovery for Azure has been managed automatically with the help of a few features, something called as a Microsoft Azure Site Recovery Service, basically known as ASR. Basically, it's in a backend service. It's been using something called as a disaster recovery as a service. You maybe heard about something called a DRS. So that is the concept. Is ASR is the key service which has been using on in a backend, which will allow us for recovery plans, replication or orchestration or any kind of monitoring or a failover or a failback. It's been available. That's so it's been available on the backend here. So there's questions. Okay. So thank you and over to you, Surag. So we are already on top of the time. Surag, it's over to you. I hope I have been answered all the questions, Q&A questions, which has been posted on the chat. In case if I missed something, it's not purposefully. In case if I missed, because we have overflooded of the chat messages on the right. So in case you missed anything, I'll be ready to answer that. It was a nice discussions and it was a nice batch. Yeah. Surag, over to you. So on in
Thank
the
you,
time
Robin, for
limit,
the.
maximum we have been tried.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you, Robin. I guess as a this is a 3-day session, we try to include almost all the important thing or the basic things that is really required for you to get started on AZ104 and to have that basic understanding. I hope it was really useful for you and I hope you had checked the resources and kept the lecture notes and everything, and I have shared the forms for you to get a certificate of participation, which have been asked too many times. So I have shared it and go there and fill out. You should be receiving it in a minute after you fill the form correctly. And the recording of today's session will be available in our YouTube channel. If there is anybody who missed it or would like to be watching again, it will be available in our YouTube channel. And the previous days are also there. And again, we are conducting these kind of sessions and these kind of trainings in our community. If you're somebody who like looking to be upskilling, want to be learning for free, this is a community that you should be part of. So be sure to click on the link that I'll be sharing for our community, whichever the community you like to be joining, and we'll be happy to have you and we'll be happy to see you in the upcoming sessions as well. And thank you all for joining. And thank you, Robin, for the wonderful session, which is really resourceful and really hands-on and was really the scenarios and it really helps you to understand it. So I really thank you for Robin for that. And thank you all for using these hours for the certificate or the session to be completed and have a great rest of the day and see you in the upcoming sessions. Thank you.